Welcome back to the Margaret River Pro. Out in the lineup now, we've got Wade Carmichael up and riding in Heat 4 of Round 1, driving into this pit. It's going to hold open for him, and the rookie comes flying out. And a tricky little exit as well. He's up against John Florence and Mikey Wright. What a heat this is.
Almost did a lip transfer. That was sick.
Sitting in 13th spot. Let's look at the replay of this first ride.
And look at this wave here again. He sets up off the bottom and realizes he needs a lot of speed and goes into that next section very deep, comes out, and then boom, goes for the transfer. Doesn't quite get the connection there, but the double up again. Look at that, just late drop, tail taps it down, slows himself for a second, realizes, okay, I got to get moving, and that's when he pumps the board. He was actually in the barrel and goes over the top of the foam. So difficult to do, but that speed is so important when you're flying through a section like that. When you're flying over the top of that whitewater, you got to have speed. Loved his positioning. I mean, if that wave was able to hold, I mean, you see again, look, you have to be underneath it. He does it perfectly, stays glued to the face and just right up into it, but the wave itself didn't turn towards him. And if it turns towards him, it actually starts to open up. See Strider getting out of the way of that bigger set wave.
So now John's going to get his opportunity. Two-time world champion, the winner of the Margaret Pro event last year. Mikey just trying to make up a score on the inside here. He's been throwing some big air reverses, but right now he's stalling for the pit. Takes his foot off the brake, finds some cover.
That was creative.
Super creative. Just gets that opposite grab. But he's just going for a make-up score there. Probably a pretty smart move.
For that one nice wave, but he's got to be careful because Mikey is looking to win his heat, and it doesn't matter how he's going to do it. He's going to find little waves on the inside and make it happen. So if those waves don't come for John, as we watch the creativity of Mikey Wright, you know, again, going into that turn, this wave here, going into that second section, he backdoors it pretty deep. You know, he did have to surf through that barrel, not the longest of times, but he goes all that speed and then knows he was going to lose it if he didn't get a hold of that rail. So he goes with the opposite grab. So you'd have to say, definitely on his forehand. And, you know, I think that obviously if you're going to start looking at ways to work things.
Well, have a look at this. John Florence trying to get himself in this heat. Ducks under the lip. Nice open barrel. Finds a little bit more cover and driving out onto the open face now. Looking for a finish with an air reverse. Doesn't quite ride out of the move. But John just trying to get himself as deep as he could on that wave. Mikey Wright got himself 3.67 on his previous wave. We'll see where John's goes in a moment, but a good size wave.
As he drops in again, slowly delays the bottom turn, tucks up underneath, not super deep. I think he will score some points for the sake of two barrels and on a sizable set wave. But again, those are not super deep barrels where I feel like that's where you're going to see the points rise. Love the creativity in the way he got into that tube. You know, he could have done the arm drag, but he waited, delayed the bottom turn so he could get a read on the wave.
Does this wave give you a bit of an idea of where John is at mentally at the moment, carrying these two poor results?
You know, I would say, no, it doesn't to me. I mean, I think that, do you feel like
I just feel like John never catches a wave like that without stuffing himself as far back in the barrel as he possibly can. Meanwhile, live action, Florence picks one off on the inside. So he was in third priority and found this wave. And now let's go of a beautiful carve out there on the open face. So looking a little bit more authoritative on this wave, and he finishes this one off.
Hey, he saved that wave with that carve and off the top. That was creative. That was use of speed in a very defined way. He did not get two-barreled here. I mean, definitely doing everything he could to get as deep as he possibly could. Held it for a while, got through it, but here, look at this. Lays into that one and straight back to the bottom. Boom. That's the creative lines that the judges want to see with the combination of major maneuvers. This feels like a good number. It could be the best of the heat.
One thing we've been watching all morning is surfers really struggling to hold that rail in place over that bumpy water. Mikey Wright out the back, late drop. That one's going to break right on his head, and he's going to go down. But just back to John Florence, holding that rail through that bumpy turbulent water so well.
You know, his experience that he's been able to sustain, you know, the DNA that he carries in his body. Yeah, I would say he's pretty much one of the top tough wild cards, and that's why he's getting starts.
Well, this is an interesting move from Wade Carmichael. He had priority, and he took this wave.
That's a huge mistake. Absolutely huge mistake. Why did he go on that wave?
And Wade, he can seize the lead with a good insider here, but that wave's not going to do it.
Yeah, maybe that's the point too, is that you hear 4.4 and you want the lead back, and you kind of pull the trigger to get that, thinking there's that much time that you can get back that priority and control the heat at the end of it with the lead.
Set wave coming our way. John Florence trying to apply some pressure here. He's asking the question, do you want this one? Because I'll go if you don't. But Mikey's all over it. And he takes off, ducks straight into the pit. Finds some good cover, stalling, trying to maximize his time behind the curtain before ducking in once again. The wave gets very ugly there on the inside. And Mikey's somewhere in amongst it all. But the first section was solid. Wasn't chasing a huge number to get himself up into the lead, but in saying that, 6.9s haven't been coming easy this year. But Pete, you're calling it's the best wave of the heat?
No, it needs to be the best wave of the heat, and I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to be the 6.9. Similar to this one, and good read underneath it, but you see the nose of his board pretty much the entire time. Very minimal disappearance there. Had he had this second section, then he makes it. That's where you see it go into the 6.9 for my eyes. Good read, though. I mean, you talk about his forehand barrel riding skills. He has it. He's definitely good on the back end as well, but I guess if you're going to look at one of those waves, you know, on tour or Chopo.
E4 of round one underway here at the Margaret Pro. Mikey Wright has just locked in a 6.37. He's up again. He's now chasing just a 4.2 to get himself into the lead. He's got some speed. He's going to take to the air. Where's the kite? He went soaring. Find the finish, though. Behind him, John Florence. Inside, a big one. Finds his way through the first section. And now goes to turns down the line. But a solid start. Big barrel. Drifts the fins right there on the finish.
But John underneath and deep. I mean, this was, again, disappearing. Comes out with the spit. Doesn't get the bonus second section. But a lot done on that outside section. Just the way he positioned himself underneath it. And then these maneuvers on the inside will score some extra points as well. But look at how underneath it. That positioning there is so difficult to do. Such a great read. Feels like this is going to be, you know, close to the best wave of the heat. I mean, 6.17. Yeah, I would have to say this is going to go.
And Wade Carmichael's going to get into the mix as well, as he lines up this one. Not particularly deep. And he's going to go right through to the inside. So didn't even get locked in that battle for priority either.
How sick was that exchange? 3 back-to-back waves, all complete cylinders. Opportunity here, because this wave was a nice clean one. You know, he kind of raced it. If he had been just like 5 feet deeper, he would have gotten spit out with it rather than being outside of the barrel and having the wave spit. Again, just didn't quite delay the bottom turn long enough. Nice clean wave though. I mean, look how round it was all the way through.
Back to live action now. Just over 8 minutes to go. Wade Carmichael tucking in on the inside. This is a nugget. And he trips out of the barrel. John Florence again. The score's starting to roll through. And there'll be more to add up as Florence locks in on the inside. Clean vision there. And just comes firing out of the barrel.
Oh, just a shotgun. Pow!
North Point starting to flare here on day 3 of the event window. The first round underway. Heat 4 in the lineup. John Florence, Mikey Wright locking horns.
And just again, I think a lot of it's got to do with the fact that North Point getting a little lower tide. See that late drop. He reads the second section is going to be the meaty one and super deep. This one feels even better than the 5.9. Just because of where he was and how deep he was and how intense the wave was on that second section. Because he caught it on the outside, he sets it all up, and look at how it doubles up right there. And then disappears from view, spit out.
Well, here we go, some action on the takeoff spot. John Florence, second priority. He's opting to take this one, loading up for a big alley-oop. And he fell a long way from the top there, straight down to the top of the wave.
And then he probably would have went over the falls too.
Oh, was that a busted board?
I don't know.
For an 8.23, holding on to priority. He's going to have to make a move soon. He eyes off a wave. It looks pretty good. It looks like a thick one. Late takeoff, too late. He goes down.
Smash.
With just 5 seconds remaining. And that was the wave, potentially, that could have seen Mikey turn it all around and make the jump directly through to round 3.
That was fun, Ronnie. It's good heats.
Cheers, Pete. Plenty more action coming your way. Another big heat just around the corner. Stick around. Gabriel Medina, Juan Daru and Cale Walsh are out there next. Joe Tapel and Martin Potter will step in for the call.